Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and coming up here today, I got a mailbag for you. I went live on Thursday before the Cowboys and Titans game. I asked the nation to give me their questions, so all the questions you see here on today's show are from Thursday. Let's go to Zornell. What's up, brother? I said Hendon Hooker in the third or fourth round and the DTDE or cornerback in the first round. I don't mind the idea of stacking your defense early on in the draft. The issue is, again, with Hendon Hooker being 24 years old with an ACL, you're essentially not going to get him to realistically be able to play until he's almost 26 years old. I don't want to take a risk on a quarterback at 26. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't, when I can probably find a guy in the draft who's 21, 22 years old. Let's go to Brandon Jasper. I have two jerseys on my wall. One is Bo, other is Carr. I would love to see Carr stay true to his word and retire, but if there's a lot of money or get a TV gig. I mean, I don't think Carr gets a TV gig personally. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he becomes a pastor. I do think, though, DC, he's got a family. If somebody's going to offer him millions of dollars, which he will get offered millions of dollars, or a team will trade for him, which is the most likely thing, he's going to go somewhere else. And let's be real. If you dated somebody for 9 years and they did you dirty the way that Mark Davis just did Derek Carr dirty here, I think I'd kind of want to go up against them. That's all I'm saying. Brandon, much love to you. Let's go to Sal. Watch McDaniels screw us and head back to New England. Bell has said his time's up. Screw us. Brady and McDaniels reunion feels this conspiracy on purpose to hurt us. Elites didn't like Gruden and us for a long time. I mean, I'll say this. I don't think McDaniels and Ziegler are going to go anywhere. But if they did, I don't really think I'd be all that upset about it. I don't believe in Josh McDaniels. I will never believe in Josh McDaniels. The only way I will believe in Josh McDaniels is if he can prove to me that he can win a playoff game. You win a playoff game, it changes it. But does anybody have any confidence in that man right now? I don't think anybody does. Let's go to Hellcat Q. When do you think this whole debacle will conclude? My honest gut opinion is 2 years. Because to me, you got 2 years. I will say I was told by a source that even though everybody thinks that Mark Davis thinks that Josh McDaniels is doing an incredible job, that's actually not 100% true. Mark was upset about the way that this season has gone, but he still made Derek Carr the scapegoat. He was more upset about Derek Carr than he was Josh McDaniels, which is ultimately why they decided to move on. On top of that, I was also told by a source that Mark felt like he wasted his money on Derek. We'll see. Yeah, not great. Let's go to Wild 114. What effect, shout out to Mount Rushmore, will this have on free agency? I wouldn't blame free agents for hanging up on us after what we did to Carr. It's all about trust. I mean, it's definitely all about trust, which is one of the reasons why I never liked McDaniels. Nobody could ever trust the guy. Look what he did in Denver. Look what he did to Indianapolis. Look what he's doing to the Raiders right now. I mean, that's a lot of not trusting. Also, we got some bots in the chat. Spam some Raiders down there. I think, though, one of the reasons why that Tom Brady to the Raiders makes sense to me is because if you put Tom Brady on your roster, that's the Band-Aid. It's just the truth. People will want to play with Tom Brady because of who he is. So if you bring him into the team, free agents will want to play with you. Now, I'll tell you what, Week 17, New Year's Day. Let's get 2023 started the right way. And I know the cards are stacked against us. Raiders 10-point underdogs against the 49ers, the best defense in the NFL. It's Jarrett Stidham time. I don't have any recipe for success. All I know is this. Jeremy Chugs and I, we're going to be live for our Raiders 49ers watch party. So if you want to join us, spam F49 in the comments. And on top of that, I just can't stand the Niners. We're going to be battling out. Raiders report up against the 49ers report. I know Mount Rushmore is going to be there. My question to all of you is this. Will you join us? Will you join us on Sunday? I freaking hope so, because whether you, I don't know, with the whole Raiders situation, I think we can all agree, can't stand the Niners. Let's go to Greg. What's up, Greg? Mitch, which players are you watching this weekend? Jeremy, we actually made a graphic on that earlier in the week, if you can find it. Greg, I don't have the exact names, but I know a graphic was made. So Jeremy's going to find it real quick here. And so my top 10 prospects that I thought Raider Nation should watch out for during the New Year's Eve games. And when I talk about the New Year's Eve games, I mean, let's be real. It's Georgia versus Ohio State, TCU against Michigan. C.J. Stroud, Paris Johnson Jr., from Ohio State, Kelee Ringo, Jalen Carter, Quentin Johnston, Zach Harrison, Luke Wypler, Dawand Jones, Mike Morris, and Mazi Smith. Those were the top names that I personally thought made the most sense for Raider fans to check out. If you want even more names, I can try to do a list probably coming up here in a little bit since the season's almost over. I'll do top draft prospects and all that. But how about this, y'all? This is definitely the part of the year where you can't take days off. If you want this Raiders team to succeed, I need you to watch the New Year's Eve games. I need you to watch certain players because the Raiders are going to have a shit ton of draft picks this year. So how do we make the team better? By getting certain players in the draft. So all I want to know is this. Name a player that you're going to be watching very closely on New Year's Eve. Let's go to one of the GOATs, Brandon Jasper. What Davis did is despicable. He will get a visit after I say hi to McDaniels. Top 10 things you never want. Brandon Jasper's on that list. You know what? I'm showing up at your doorstep. What up, Wild One? There will be no battle. We don't have a quarterback. It might not be a battle in the real game, but there better be a battle on YouTube. Like I said, the Raiders report, it's like 38, 39 straight weeks, #1 most watch party here at Chat Sports. I got to keep that momentum going. And we're going up against the Niners, and they've had a lot of success on that channel recently. We got the numbers. We got the passion. Question is, will we show up on Sunday? Let's go to Diesel Power. How do you feel about trading for Zach Wilson? It's a great picture. Zach Wilson, no. No freaking way, man. I can't stand Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, to me, he's just a baby. And I think that's the best way to put it. You're seeing certain situations where certain kids are kids, and I don't care if they're in the NFL. Look at Zach Wilson. He is a baby, and I cannot even wrap my mind around him being on the Raiders. Let's go to We Out Here Entertainment. How did Carr get cut before Clelin Ferrell? He's the quarterback, and it's money, and also Carr didn't get cut. They told him to step away. He's taking paid leave of absence. So that's how. Let's go Lil Chains. Texans get Carr, and we get first-round pick. Nope. Second-round pick, maybe. There's not going to be a single team out there that gives you a first-round pick for Derek Carr. Maybe there's a team out there that gives you a second. I think second's the highest that you're going to be able to get. The only way that a first-round pick is going to be involved in a Derek Carr trade is if you also trade away another player. Like if you were to trade away Derek Carr and Darren Waller, then a team would be more than likely to give you a first-round pick and then something else. Let's go to Ugly Cheech God. If McDaniels wasn't the coach, Carr would still be here. I like to believe that that's probably the case, but I'll also say that you just never know. You don't know. I mean, if the Raiders would have gotten back to the situation where if they're around 500 again, my opinion would have stayed the same. If the Raiders would not have made the playoffs, no matter who the coach is, I would not have kept Carr. You've done it for 9 years. If it was up to me, I'm sorry, I would have moved on from Carr probably like 2 years ago. But they gave him a shot. Let's go to Cooper. If Stroud plays well against Georgia, do you think the Raiders would consider drafting him? I mean, I'll tell you this right now. When I think of teams that run pro-style defenses, if you will, I'd probably say Michigan runs a very pro-style defense, and so does Georgia. And if Stroud, he struggled against Michigan. If he struggles again then against Georgia, that's going to be an issue. When I watch Stroud play, when the pocket's clean, dude's elite. However, when the pocket breaks down and things aren't going exactly according to plan, he struggles. In the NFL, shit's going to break down, and you need to be able to adjust. The more and more tape I watch on C.J. Stroud, the less and less I actually like him as a quarterback prospect in the NFL. So he plays well against Georgia, though. Stock's going to go up. If he doesn't, there's a chance he could fall out of the top 10. Let's go to Vincenzo. Should Raiders draft Christian Gonzalez? I love Christian Gonzalez. I will still admit it's between him and Kelee Ringo for me, the cornerback out of Georgia, for who I like more. It depends what type of corner you're looking for. I think Christian Gonzalez is the more athletic player, where Ringo to me is, dude's like 6'2", built like a linebacker, but moves like a cornerback. Both are great players. I do, though, really, really like Christian Gonzalez's game. Deserves to be in that top 15 pick. Corner is obviously a big team need. To me, though, as much as corner is a need, it depends what they decide to do with Rock Ya-Sin, whether or not they bring him back. All right, how about this, though? Since we are talking about these college football games, who you got? You're going to go with the Bulldogs in Georgia type UGA, or you're going to go with the Buckeyes in Ohio State type OSU. Let me know what y'all are thinking in this game. I'm taking the Bulldogs. Go Bulldogs. No? I don't know. Maybe you all know it, maybe you don't. If you want to bet on all the college football games this weekend, there's one place to do it and one place only. That's at chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. That gets you 125% deposit bonus. What does that mean? It means if you put down $100, you're going to get $125 for free to bet with. It's the best deal on the internet. Put your money where your mouth is. Chatsports.com/Raiders. Let's go to Jake. State Farm? I don't know. Need Brady. Needs to come for a Super Bowl run next year for sure. #Raiders. I think if you bring Brady in, people are going to be a lot more happy. And I think it makes sense to bring Brady in short term and long term. That's your move. Let's go to ED Mazing. We have to draft Drake May next season. Have to. I mean, to me, it's between Drake May and Caleb Williams. The more and more film I watch on Drake May, the more and more I like him. The ball just comes out of his arm effortlessly. I mean, it really, truly does. Watch Justin Herbert, watch Aaron Rodgers when they were in college. I'm not saying that he's going to be those type of quarterbacks, but the ball velocity, spiral, effortless, it's just cool, calm, and collective. I love Drake May. And if you told me right now, would you rather have Drake May or Caleb Williams? Right now, I would take Drake May, and that's a very unpopular opinion for some people, but that's what I would go with. What up, Brandon? Who is the next player we move on after Carr? That's a tough decision. From what I understand, the Raiders are going to just look at a bunch of young players, and they're going to go from there. I don't have an answer for you. I don't know what the Raiders are going to do the next 2 weeks. I have absolutely no idea. What up, Wild One? F. Tom Brady, I will never forget. If the Raiders win the Super Bowl with Tom Brady, I would imagine a lot of people would forget. Speaking of Tom Brady, speaking of Michigan, that's where he went. Who you got, TCU or Michigan? This one's tough to me because our boss here at Chat Sports, big Michigan guy, and obviously I'm a Charles Woodson fan. That's why I'm pulling for Michigan. However, we got Harry, who's a TCU grad, and I always root for the Horned Frogs because I like seeing Harry happy. The issue is I think I got to go with Michigan on this one. I'm taking Michigan. I'm going to go Georgia. I'm going to go chalk, but I am always on board for chaos. Let's go to Jersey. Mitch, if Josh Jacobs doesn't come back, who do we get in free agency, or do we draft someone like Robinson? No, I would never draft Bijan Robinson. I'm sorry, I don't like drafting running backs in the first round. Jacobs has worked, but to me, you can get really good running back talent later on in the draft. Like, look at a guy like Alvin Kamara. Look at a guy like Jonathan Taylor. I mean, you can find solid running backs late in the draft. I mean, you can. It's been proven. So for that reason, no, I think that the Raiders go with a crazy running back by committee with a little bit of Zamir White, and then we'll see where you go from there. Probably would draft another running back, though. Let's go to Hellcat Q. When do you think a decision will be made on our quarterback? I believe a decision has to be made, or I know a decision has to be made 3 days after the Super Bowl. You got 3 days after the Super Bowl to make a decision on Carr. If you wait 3 days, then Carr's contract actually, you got to pay him. So that's when it all changes. I do think, though, something happens before that. Whether it's going to be whether it's going to be a trade or whether it's going to be them just outright cutting him. A lot of drama no matter what. And here's the thing. I'm going to keep you guys up to date. Twitter, Instagram. Going to be doing a lot of live shows even in the offseason over on Locals. So make sure you hit me up. And speaking of getting hit up, I want you to show the Tri-Van one if you could. Just put it here in the mailbag. We'll explain what the hell it is. Tri-Van sent in a $50. Remember, we did this live. That means Jeremy Chuggs gets to go slap Tom Downey. So what I want you all to do is spam slap. That way I know you made it to the very end of today's mailbag.